Alright, let's Z-remesh our mask and give it some thickness. So, currently we can see that our topology is very messy. This is nowhere good. Nowhere close to a good topology at all. So we can see this, yeah, just a total mess. But it's good for us because I was able to very accurately kind of make the shapes and forms that I need, the basis of them, right? So now my model looks, I'm just gonna change my brush. My model looks nice and, you know, detailed the way I want it to be. Because my mouth could have a larger hole, I kind of made the nose in there, but I think that's okay. But yeah, let's Z-remesh. So Z-remesher basically is going to reduce our geometry topology, but you can see here now on the edges, it's not very nice, right? And if we Z-remesh right now over here, so just do Z-remesh, then I can see that overall it looks very nice. But if we zoom into these problem areas, you can definitely see that, you know, this topology is not acceptable. So I'm going to Command D, and I'm going to do something in the deformation tab. That's something pretty easy. So I'm going to zoom into my problem area here, and here in polish by groups, I'm going to go up to like 21, 20, maybe one more time, and you can see how that completely polishes our edge. So now we have a nice edge loop around our whole model, so that's going to help us Z-remesh it. So let's see now. So before you Z-remesh, I highly recommend that you duplicate your mask, right? And then rename this mask Z-remesh. Because we want to work on a clone, right? So if something happens, we still have this backup, right? So that's good. This reminds me, let's save this one more time. Another iteration of this. Remember, save as Z project. Click OK. Cool. So now we can Z-remesh one more time. So Z-remesher is under geometry. Target polygons count 5. That's 5,000. So that's fine. That's usually the default. And so let's just say Z-remesher. Okay. So this gave us a pretty good result, I would say, right? We have nice edge loops around everywhere. We have nice edge loop right here. Our beak is nice and detailed. However, there's a way to mess with these settings to make sure maybe that you don't want the beak to be as detailed. Or you want it maybe to be the same kind of detailed as the rest of the mask and stuff. But another thing that we can do is, I'm going to Command Z. If you have issues with your kind of edge loops when you Z-remesh, there is this brush called ZRemesher Guides, where you can just simply, for example, I want to say, okay, please make sure that there is an edge loop around the eyes, okay? All those things can kind of help us, right? Edge loop around here, for example, around the whole mask and stuff. So all those things can help us. So then I'm going to click Z-remesh this once, right? And then I actually want to have a little bit of a lower topology than I do right now. So I'm gonna select half and do Z-remesher again. So this is gonna decrease this in half, right? So that's still pretty good. Maybe increase the adaptive size, increase the curve strength. Z-remesh. Okay. Nice. I'm looking here at the beak specifically to make sure that we have nice topology. I'm gonna do half again. See if that's pushing it too much. I don't think so. So I actually quite like this half that we have. This actually looks quite good, I think. Let's try one more time. We could get away with this. Yeah, okay, so this is where I'm gonna stop ZRemeshing, basically. And now we have this model that is very low poly, and one cool thing that we can do about it is, so I'm gonna go to Move Topology tool, and you know, we can again tweak it a little more as we see fit. So I'm gonna, you know, obviously make sure that it's not intersecting with my face. I can now start to maybe pull this in a little bit like I wanted to earlier. We have way more control now of this. So now if I wanted to, you know, create like a nicer curve here, for example, I could much more easily than before. Let me actually pull this down like that and pull this up and maybe forward. Right, that's great. All right, I'm pretty happy with this. So next, I'm actually gonna check that it is not intersecting. That's pretty good. So next we're gonna solidify this. So we're gonna actually add thickness to this. So the way we do that is in geometry, you go under dynamic subdivision here, you click dynamic, okay? And what we can do is make sure that smooth subdivision is turned to 0, because we can always subdivide later. But what we're wanting to play with is the thickness. So right here. So if I put the thickness up, right, this is my thickness of the mask. So I can play with that a little bit till I get where I kind of want to be. I want my mask to be fairly thin, I think. Maybe like so. That seems a pretty good thickness for my liking. And then I can just click apply. Now I've applied my thickness to my model, so I can see if I turn off this, so I can see now this is what's happening kind of inside of my mask. Now it has thickness, which is great. So because it pushed right out for me, so now the beak is kind of pretty a little thicker now than it was earlier, but that's okay because we can fix that. Here you can see the edges of it too. So yeah, look at that. So now we basically have a version of kind of a new base model for our mask, right? So, but now this time with thickness. So I'm gonna turn off the poly, and now we basically work on it as if it was a regular sculpt. But before we do that, we need to make sure that our model has UVs. So the first thing that we do, always, is make sure that our model has UVs. And go to Z plugin, UV master, and click unwrap and see what it gives us. UV map, more UVs. I'm gonna hide this. Let's see. Wow, beautiful. We'll take it. Nice. Okay, So now we have UVs. That's very important before you start subdividing and sculpting and stuff. So now you know this is UV'd and you'll be good. So now we can start subdividing it just like we would a regular model and kind of sculpting on it.